So aside from curriculum, we also have to shop for other homeschool resources. So today I want to share with you my top 10, just the resources that I find help my homeschool go smoothly and that I use just about every single day. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me. If you're new here, I am a young homeschool mom of 3 children. My children are in preschool and kindergarten currently. So we're new to teaching, but I am also a homeschool graduate. So it's been fun coming from the world of being homeschooled into the world of teaching homeschooled. Totally different and loads of fun. Today, I'm going to share with you my top resources for homeschool. So just supplies, what things make life easier. And by top, I was trying to think favorite or most useful. And I've decided top being the things that I use consistently the most. But before I begin, I did want to mention that today's video is part of a collaboration with other homeschool moms sharing their top or must-have homeschool resources. So if you want to see those, check out the link in the description below because I'll have that there. And the collaboration is being hosted by Stephanie at Schulte's Sweetie and CJ at Homeschooling Through High School. And I will link both of their channels below, so check them out. And if you like this kind of content, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It helps me out. So to get started, I'm going to begin with these Flex notebook binders. And I have mentioned these in a video before as something that I use all the time. I use these. This one is my homeschool teacher binder. I use it for my planner and any teacher's manuals that I need to print out, I use this for, but I also use this as my children's daily binder. So instead of using workbooks, I tear their workbooks apart, hole punch them, and put a week's worth of pages for each subject in here. Or if I can buy the curriculum as a PDF download, I do that and print it out myself. I love these rather than a normal binder because you can open them up and completely fold them flat and use it as both sides. So you don't need to have the same table spread that you do for a normal binder. It's much more compact. And I like these dividers. So I have a divider for each subject in my children's school, and it works really, really well. It keeps it organized. I only have so many papers at a time. I don't have a ton of workbooks that need to take up space. So all of their workbooks are in one of these binders, one for each of my children, and it just saves me so much space with these, and I really, really like how they work. So that would be my first, the most used supply that we have. And along with that comes, because I have to print out or tear apart my binders, a 3-hole hole punch. And this is not an expensive, glamorous one. I think I got this between $5 and $10 at Walmart during the homeschool or the back to school sales that they have. So it's just a basic, punches like 10 to 20 pages at a time. But I use this every week when I print out my pages for my children to put it in their binder. A hole punch is necessary. I'm not going to do this individually, and I'm not going to, how else do you do it, right? So I use that also regularly. And then along with that, and I'm not going to turn the camera in to show you, but I'll pop a picture of the one I have up here, is an economical printer. This printer is maybe one of my favorite things ever. So originally I had gotten an Eco Tank, and I had decided when I got it that I could do with like the cheapest model. I didn't need double-sided printing or a paper feed for scanning or anything like that. And a couple months in, I realized that that was a really bad decision. Now, depending on your budget, everybody's budget is differently, but I could have afforded a better one, and I just didn't. And so, like, I told my husband, I really want double-sided printing. I really want something that can scan, feed and scan double-sided. Because I was doing a ton of scanning workbooks that you're allowed to copy and reproduce. I was scanning in as a PDF instead of just copying each page that I could just print it out versus like the hassle of putting a book on the scanner. And so we ended up selling the one I had and buying this one. And we were thinking about going with another Eco Tank, and I wasn't unhappy with it, but we found this one and I have loved it. It has been better than my Eco Tank, I would say. But to be fair, this one was more expensive. We got it on a really good sale. It was maybe almost half off when I got it. So I will link it below if you're interested in checking it out, because I don't see a lot of alternatives to the Eco Tanks being mentioned these days. This is another tank printer that's super cost effective, pennies per print. Has multiple drawers for papers for different types. It does the double-sided scanning, double-sided printing, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to put that down below for you to check out if you want to. And that I use regularly for homeschool and not. It's been such a good investment. So a good printer, 100%. Another thing that I use all the time, daily, actually, with our homeschool, is my homeschool cart. Again, I'm going to throw a picture up here. And this one in particular, because it is a wider than normal cart. Most of the ones that I see hold about 4 of those magazine holders across. This one holds, I think, 6. And I love it. I think it's at Michael's. Again, I'll link it below if you're interested. But and I have really, really, really liked my homeschool cart. It has been so great. We don't have a homeschool room, and so I just wheel this out to our table. We have a corkboard above the table, and that's our setup. And then when I'm done, I wheel it back into the corner of our office, and it works wonderfully. And then with that, like I said, these magazine holders are another must-have supply for me. They keep things so well organized within my homeschool cart, but also just on my bookshelf. So in my homeschool cart, each of my children have 1 to 2, depending on how many teachers' manuals I have for them, of these on their homeschool cart. So their workbooks are in those flex notebook binders that I showed you, and then any extra readers that are specifically assigned to that week's lessons, or their teacher's manual, any encyclopedias that are specific, or resource books, I put in here, each on one side of the cart. And it keeps them upright. It keeps the books from getting bent and flopped over. And I feel like it keeps my manuals in good condition. But then also on my bookshelf, I keep all my extra teacher pages. I keep my just any miscellaneous magazines for curriculum, whatever. It keeps them so neat and orderly on my shelf. And I can either have it available to pull out, or I can hide everything with this nice black back. So depending on what I have in it, I'll turn it around one way or the other. But it just keeps things neat, upright. It keeps just things how I like it. And so I love those, and I'll probably end up getting another order of those soon. And there are so many options you can find everywhere. Those magazine holders are wonderful. So a few more just daily used supplies. A good pencil sharpener, I think, is a must-have, not like a little hand one. I would say either like an electric one or one of those crank ones. I got an electric one, and I love it. It makes my life so much easier. My kids use pencils for their schoolwork. They use colored pencils all the time. And this is just fast and easy. It just keeps everything contained. There's no extra, nothing ends up on the table for me to clean. And then I just dump it when it gets full, and we use it all the time. Along with that, another thing I use all the time, and you can see that these are not full, is magnetic bookmarks. I really, really like magnetic bookmarks. I like that it keeps my page marked without a whole bunch of things sticking out of the top of my book. I like neatness and order. I don't like having to bend the corners of my pages. I know some people do that. And these I use mainly in my teacher's manuals. But to have one where we are really neat and tidy, and it keeps my spot so well, and they're super affordable. And so I use these regularly for pretty much all of my teacher's manuals. Another supply that I use a lot is these removable index tabs. So I use these for my planners. Each month you can mark each month and you can write on them, but then they also peel off, and so they're reusable. And I mean, I know you can get dividers with tabs, but I don't always want a whole bunch of extra dividers taking up space. And so this, I can just tab the spots where I want to be. And so I find these really useful as well. And I think you can find these at the dollar store, or I found these on Amazon for a pack of 24 for a couple of bucks. They're very affordable. Another thing that I found at the dollar store, but I have used so much this year, so much, is these little dry erase boards. One side is blank, and we've used this side, but this side with the writing lines has been wonderful teaching my child. And they aren't like the highest quality, but this has lasted for an entire year for $1 and no problems whatsoever. When it gets a little muddied up, a little bit of rubbing alcohol cleans these off, no problem. And I'm going to get a couple more because eventually I know these corners will wear down and it'll break apart. But these have been amazing. I've loved having these dotted lines to erase. And my daughter enjoys it. She thinks it's fun. She likes erasing it herself, in fact. And then one more thing that I have that I found super useful is a paper cutter. And I did not want a big one because I have minimal space. I don't have a homeschool room. So I wanted a paper cutter, but I was debating. I don't use it enough that I wanted one of those giant high quality ones. So I found this little paper cutter. I want to say in like the $15 range, maybe it was closer to 20, but it opens up. So you have a guide if you want a guide this way, and then you have a guide this way, and you basically slip your paper in, shut this, and pull it across. And these little blades are super easy to replace, super affordable to replace, and it'll do like 10 pieces of paper at once, I think. I think I've done that many, no problem. So that's totally sufficient for my needs. I don't do massive amounts of collating because everything goes into that notebook binder that I'm using. And this is totally suitable for my needs, but I end up using this almost every day because my daughter's reading curriculum has a lot of these little word cards that you cut out and play games with. And so every day to every couple of days, I'm cutting out multiples of those. And it's so nice just to have a quick edge that I can just real quickly cut instead of cutting it all by hand with my scissors. So this has been an excellent, excellent resource. And I'm really, really happy I grabbed this. So not very glamorous, but those are 10 of the things that I use on a regular basis and make my life so much easier. And I really, really love to have. I'll link as many of those things as I can find below so that you can check them out. I would love to know what some of your top resources are, because I may get some great ideas from you guys. So please comment those below if you have some, and I'll see you again next week.